Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest mysteries and disappearances video. Alright, let's go ahead and let's start this series here based on one of your new suggestions. This one having to do with a fascinating case of someone that was apparently missing, but there's so little information associated with it, one would almost think that it's almost a hoax, if but for the fact that it actually was broadcasted when it came to this person's disappearance. But so little info, even to this very day, is accompanying her disappearance that no one knows where this person is, how it happened, when it happened, why the broadcast was showcasing so little info, and so on. Like, there's so much mysteriousness that it definitely baffles people and has become a popular subject when it comes to the world of Reddit and other internet sites. But it has to do with this. You're looking at the actual picture of the disappearance of the broadcast here, and it's known as the disappearance of Joanna Lopez. So let's go ahead and let's talk about this very, very mysterious circumstance. I'll try to present as much information as possible, and I'd love to hear what your thoughts and comments on there too. So here's essentially what happened. You have to go back first to January 14th, 1989. Wow, so we're talking a good couple of decades back, and then that's when at a local Chicago broadcast station, an NBC station called WMAQ, they were broadcasting for the night and then signing off. This was that time period back then where it was just like rabbit ear stuff. Vaguely remember that on terms of rabbit ears, when it was just a couple of channels that were on the public television side, how very, very late at night it was essentially one final hour, and then at the end of that hour, instead of having, let's say, stuff involving infomercials and anything else filling the rest of the night, it was just a send-off. It was essentially the national anthem. I remember seeing in one case it was like a national anthem of a flag, just a flag floating in the wind or billowing in the wind, and the banner with the music in the background, and then it would sign off, and then it would go blank, and then that's it for the night. So that was happening similarly in this case, except it was actually footage of some military personnel standing in by a flag. And then after that, if you go, in fact, I'll include the link below if you want to see the actual broadcast itself, that's when it brought up this. It's a picture of a missing woman named Joanna Lopez. But as you can see immediately, there's various things that stand out. One, it's just a plain old black and white picture. This is 1989, right? So there should be at least some colored pictures out there when it comes to it, unless this was, at that time, a really old picture of her. The second thing that stands out is that there's not much detail. It looks like it's super saturated, very unclear. It looks like it's been run through like a Xerox multiple times. You can barely make out any of her discernible features, like her eyes, her nose, a little bit of her ears, and then her lips and so on. Her hair is also barely noticeable, barely discernible there too. Even her shirt is just almost like a plain white or very light colored shirt. One can presume, just again, it's based off it being a black and white picture. But that's it. It's one of the worst pictures you can show when it comes to somebody trying to be found, because how do you know how that person looks like? There's nothing there. There's no information about her height. There's no information about her date of birth. No information about her current age, her last whereabouts, her weight, her ethnicity, nothing like that. Not where she was born, where she was last seen, nothing along those lines. The only thing that it shows is that it's her first and last name, and then also calling that number there. And that number, some sleuths, some internet sleuths were able to discern that, yes, it was actually a Chicago PD division number that handled missing juveniles. So they gave you the idea that this was a young girl. This was somebody that was essentially missing and presumably less than 18 years old. and that number was working at the time. I don't know if it's working now. I don't want to necessarily try, but I saw on others that websites that it no longer works on there. But someone let me know in case you happen to have already tried it before. But yes, it was broadcast there, and it lasted for a couple of minutes, and then again, it was signed off for the station. What makes it very eerie, though, besides all that missing information, besides the poor quality of the picture, is the fact that there was nothing behind the picture. Like, in other words, no music, nobody talking. It was just pure silence, except people that saw the broadcast stated that there was almost like an eerie feedback, like as if something was running the picture, in other words, but it was just miscellaneous electronic sound. It's eerie when you think about it, because it reminded me of like those eerie videos that I've mentioned in the past involving Number Station, where all you hear is just like static, and then you hear some numbers running in the background. But the fact that that's all that's happening, it just makes it so creepy, and that's essentially what was happening here. People that saw that footage, even now, again, click on the link if you want to see the original footage itself. That's where it showcases comments where people are still stating that it is pretty eerie. And I agree with that too. To have this kind of soft static, whatever the electrical sound is, accompanying just silence, accompanying this bizarre looking circumstance involving her missing status with no other information. It's a very otherworldly, almost like Twilight Zone stuff, and makes you even wonder if it was even a hoax, but it wasn't. It actually ran on that station at that time. And then that was it. That was it for that particular circumstance. But then cut to 1991, and then once again, her image popped up. Her image popped up on the same broadcast, on the same station, WMAQ, and this time there was a little bit better brightness, a little bit better resolution, but there was nothing else that would indicate, again, that there was information about her and then about what she truly looked like. And so again, it was a horrible picture to showcase that, because it would be very hard to pick someone out in a group somewhere in a city and say that's her just based on the quality of the picture. This one though ran for just about maybe a couple of seconds at most before the night signed off, and then that was it. Those are the only two circumstances associated with the disappearance of Joanna Lopez. Nothing else has come out afterward. Nobody else has apparently dialed that number and mentioned that I know where Joanna Lopez is. No one else has brought information forward of any sort about what led to her disappearance. Nothing along those lines. Keep in mind, this was 1989 and then 1991. 30 plus years since then. And so if this has gone viral since then, and so if somebody out there knew who Joanna Lopez was and wanted to finally bring some closure, they would have done so by now, right? They would have done so when it comes to showcasing where she is and so on, or at least knowing more information about her, but nobody has done it. There's been some theories about why this was broadcast, and again, this is something that has taken on a lot of internet life, especially on Reddit. There's one theory that this was indeed truly a hoax. Somebody was essentially playing a prank there on WMAQ and was able to insert her picture with obviously the distorted image and so on, and it was just fake. There's that angle. Then there's another angle where she truly was a missing child, a missing person, somebody that was either a runaway or taken against her own will, kidnapped, in other words. And there's that other avenue. There's another one where she was someone that was actually staying at a group home and then disappeared from there. And then there's another angle that she was potentially someone that was involved in a trade. I can't mention the word for it because of YouTube, but you get the idea. It involves when some women are kidnapped and then they're put in a specific trade against their will, where they're doing certain acts with men that are not against, something that they condone, that they're just put in that situation after they're kidnapped and forced to do it. That's another particular angle too, but nothing else has come forward with regards to it. The same internet sleuths have gone on multiple websites, police websites, they've gone on missing children websites, they've gone on other websites involving what I was mentioning earlier about that form of trafficking. They've gone on other websites, on newspapers, and so on to try to find, but nothing has come up with regards to this person, Joanna Lopez, who she was, what she was doing there in that status as far as her missing status, and so on. And it all just remains 100% just unknown to this day. So mysterious. But yeah, who knows? Maybe someday somebody might finally come forward with some information. Maybe Joanna herself, if that really was her name, or if it was some kind of other name, like a pseudonym of sorts. Maybe that might finally be answered. But if so, it's been a while, 30 plus years since this occurred. And the longer it takes, the lesser chances that are of happening. But in any case, if anybody has any more info, anything else I might have missed, please post those comments below. Maybe it's a long shot, but anyone actually remember seeing these broadcasts in person way back when? If so, let me know what that was like. It's eerie watching it now. I can only imagine when it was first happening, how the reaction must have been then. All right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care.